good evening. Good evening, everyone. I'm Diana, and I am so grateful that everyone has decided to come and join Lorenzo's house tonight at our Evening of the Lights. It's December 1st, and we're so grateful that you're bringing light with us and starting the holidays with us. We have a beautiful night planned tonight, a night that will inspire, a night that is heartfelt, a night that is been designed with intention to really share our collective stories and help our Lorenzo's house community really understand what we're doing and why we're doing what we're doing and how important the work is and how much progress we've made. Tonight we will show gratitude and we will highlight our 2022 progress, and we will have voices that illuminate. I would love to start by sharing my gratitude on behalf of so many of us right now for different groups of people. And first, I'd like to show our gratitude to Lorenzo's house families. We walk together, we bring light together, we are building Lorenzo's house together. And our families are first and foremost our biggest point of gratitude. The courage, the love that we carry every day in our journeys. Here's to the Lorenzo's house families. And second, I'd love to connect with our board of directors. It is their time and talent and wisdom that keeps an eye on us. Bill Lowe and Johnny Immerman and Leslie Knight and Tessa McEwen and our dear late and dear board member, Mark Wortman. We also have our IMSA, our Innovation Medical Science Advisors. We want to thank each of you. We have over a dozen of Innovation Medical Science Advisors who are a call away, a text away, and you inform our work. You help us understand this space. You make us better, and you are really just critical guides for us. Thank you, IMSA. We have so many partners to thank tonight. We will have a scroll on our partners later, but our partners inform our work, and without partnership, we cannot serve effectively our community. So partnerships are everything. Thank you to all of our partners. We also want to thank our young professionals, because our young professionals are on fire. They are lit. Our young professionals this year they're sort of a founding board, and you're going to hear from Lewis later. So here's to our Yo Pros. And a huge shout out to our generous donors. We have new donors this year, like over 100 new donors this year, and that's even in addition to last year, and we cannot do this without you. Your generosity means everything to us. So our generous donors, thank you for walking with us. And the last group I want to thank is the fierce and wildly compassionate Lorenzo's house team. Bree, of course, has been a household name here, and Amber and Jenny, I want to shout out. They have stepped in, particularly when I've taken a little time away. And then we have our facilitators and teachers. We have a team that's lean and relentless in their quest to empower families living with younger onset. So we could show gratitude all night, but that's our opener. Our mission needs you, all of these people I just thanked, as much as it does our holistic model. So to bring forward some remarks before we start the show, I want to share that, we launched Lorenzo's house under 2 years ago with this idea that we could fill a need and make a difference in the memory care space. Specifically younger onset space. And in a short time, we never imagined that 2 years later, we would be considered a national model and a global model right now for serving families with younger onset dementia. And that families everywhere would be sending in inquiries on a weekly basis, needing connection and support. Lorenzo's house, I want to, take some time and actually read with you. Let me share just some of our highlights from 2022. I didn't want to just throw broad strokes out there. I want you to get a sense of this heavy lifting we're doing and the demand and the model. So if you can, I would want to make sure you're sitting on a couch or you're at your kitchen table, that you have a cup of coffee, glass of water, wine, because I want you to hear this. This is very exciting. Alzheimer's Disease International report shows that 85% of families living with dementia do not receive care. And in under 2 years, Lorenzo's House is touching the lives of over 200 families across 33 states and in 4 countries through our over 30 programs. This year, Lorenzo's House has launched new programming, and you're going to hear about that tonight. We call our programming our healing spaces. We've developed our youth initiatives, doubling our number of young carers in our Light Club, which is our youth support groups. We started to create a youth facilitator guidebook that's youth-led. We've hosted our 2nd annual youth summit this year and more than doubled the participants from 21 to 44. We held an incredibly beautiful first of its kind in-person family night in Chicago in June. We completed the design phase of our Memory Academy, and Marissa's going to share more about that later, which is a day program and a remarkable innovation for adult day programming. We further designed and led our pilot phase of our Carepartner Connections. We premiered our short film, Shifting the Narrative, the story of Lorenzo's House, to over 900 people since the launch on May 3rd, and we have over a dozen screenings scheduled for 2023. We launched our strategic outreach plan to every Alzheimer's disease research center across the country, and I believe there's 33 of them, and to our area agencies on aging and to our dementia-friendly states. And we increased our donor base, as I said earlier, by over 100 new donors this year, and our social media reach has tripled this year. Stay with me. I feel like I'm talking too much, but this is all good information. And I want you to know this too. Lorenzo's House has been invited, and we have presented at these places this year to give you a sense of we're a mighty small organization making a dent. The American Association of Caregiver Youth, we spoke with Connie and her team, Alzheimer's Association International Conference in San Diego, Northwestern's 28th Annual Alzheimer's Day, thanks to Darby, our Alzheimer's Disease International presentation in London, thanks to Paola and Wendy, our LinkedIn Senior Longest Day annual event with Charles and his team. We shared remarks at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services before Congress with the Advisory Council on Alzheimer's Research. Dementia Action Alliance Conference in Indianapolis with Karen Love, Jenny, and Bree brought in a standing ovation because of the work we're doing. ElderWorks panel with Jennifer Perrell and Lieutenant Governor of Illinois. And we are hosting a screening at Matter, which is the healthcare startup hub in Chicago on 12/15 this month. So mark your calendars. And what's really exciting going into 2023 is that Lorenzo's House has been invited to be an opening featured speaker at the 2023 Mayo Clinic Conference on Brain Health and Dementia in Minnesota in March, and to speak at the Association for Frontotemporal Degeneration in St. Louis in May. Now that's a mouthful, but I'm telling you, that is amazing, amazing progress. And I wanted you all to know it, and I wish I could hear you because I know you're doing this at home. You know, I believe in miracles, and I'm looking for them every day more than ever. And without question, what we are building, the connections we're making, the movement we are a part of is a miracle. And I am so grateful to everyone for making this miracle happen for so many families who need support. So it's been a big year for Lorenzo's House, a big year for Lorenzo's House. And I'll segue to say it's also been a big year for my family personally, as we lost our Lorenzo. We lost his light this year. My husband passed in August. The outpouring of love from so many families in the Lorenzo's House family has brought us just so much comfort and solace, and we are eternally grateful. Tonight, you know, it was really Lorenzo's love was the spark that lit the vision for this organization. And tonight we will take just a few moments to honor my beloved husband and his bright light. And I want to hand that off to Rahul. Thank you, everyone, so much.
Thank you so much, Diana. It's an honor to be a part of this wonderful, wonderful event, and a complete honor to be able to cherish the memory and the love of my dear friend Lorenzo. And so this goes out to Lorenzo.
We are so grateful to have a platform this evening to recognize the important work of Lorenzo's house. While I'm so glad to be here, I'm sure most of us in this Zoom room recognize that at the same time, we are so sad, angry, frustrated, you fill in the blank, to have to be here. Our journey with young onset Alzheimer's and other dementias began when my husband, Alan, a 51-year-old pediatrician, was diagnosed in November of 2020 after many months of misdiagnosis. Despite being an attorney and high school teacher with lots of research expertise, I found myself exhausted and hitting dead ends, as the support I found was only referrals to groups that seemed intent on treating younger onset the same as onset at a later age. This made things worse because we felt misunderstood, unseen, and isolated. We have 2 children, Mark, an 18-year-old high school senior, and Lauren, a 22-year-old college senior. When facing this diagnosis, there was absolutely nothing available to help them. The only ray of hope I found was a post on a Facebook group for spouses of those living with younger onset that mentioned Lorenzo's house. That is how we all got connected to Diana, and wow, what a lifeline when I thought our only real option was drowning. There are several different tracks one can follow when walking with younger onset dementia. There is the tragedy approach, and at one point or another, we've all been there and still venture there in our darkest moments. But facing that cliff, one realizes that the fall is deep. Instead, we can turn our heads to a path of purpose and to find joy in the midst of chaos and despair. Lorenzo's house is that path. Their purpose is to help those walking this journey find moments of joy through connection and understanding, and to offer resources and tools that are totally unique when it occurs in the life cycle of a younger family. Lorenzo's house is a beacon of light for my family and me. I cannot think of another way through it. Our families living with this diagnosis need a source of education, support, strength, and most of all, hope and joy. Lorenzo's house is the only game in town doing this important work, and our family and hundreds of other families are eternally grateful.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you, everyone. You know, these families are connected now through Lorenzo's house, and we now walk together, not alone, and it's easier together. The next part of our evening is we're gonna talk about and showcase our 4 pillars, our 4 programmatic pillars, and that is our healing spaces, our youth initiatives, our care connections, and our memory academy. These 4 programs, these 4 sort of rays, we call them, make up our holistic model. And our holistic model, the idea of Lorenzo's house is that it truly embraces the whole family, because we believe that this is a diagnosis of the family. I am going to hand this off to Leticia, who is my sister in this space, who is going to share with us our healing spaces and one of our programs called Bright Brunch, and share pieces of her story. Leticia.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. As Diana said, my name is Leticia Villarreal Sosa. I'm a care partner to my husband, Rolando, and we are what early onset Alzheimer's looks like. I'm 51 years old, and my husband is 56 and an otherwise healthy man. We have an incredibly loving son, Atsin, who is 25 years old. Rolando, my husband, was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's and posterior cortical atrophy, or PCA. My journey in connection to Lorenzo's house and Diana began in September of 2021. However, our journey with Alzheimer's actually began in 2016. Rolando at the time had a profound sense that something was wrong. I was really concerned as well. I was really nervous about his driving and had one incident where he just started saying he couldn't see while on the highway. And so we struggled to get him off off the first off ramp where I could take over the driving. He frequently complained of headaches and stated that he felt off balance and just had a sense that something was not right. After an MRI, looking for answers to headaches and his feeling of off balance, the doctors concluded that nothing was wrong and dementia wasn't even on the radar. And we walked away with a prescription for an antidepressant and a mental illness waiver. We, of course, never took that antidepressant, and we continued looking for answers. We saw a functional medicine doctor who specialized in neurological conditions, and that wasn't helpful either. In 2013, Rolando had a neuropsychological evaluation. And by that time, the symptoms were very pronounced, and the dementia was quite advanced already. But unfortunately, that neuropsych evaluation was an experience of extreme gaslighting. They pathologized Rolando's comments about his memory as quote unquote negative self-statements. So, it was a self-esteem issue. They concluded in their assessment, and these are their words, suggests against the presence of an underlying neurodegenerative disorder or disease process. I was so angry about this result and angered more at their recommendations that he engaged in CBT, practice sleep hygiene, and limit distractions. That was their answer. In May of 2020, after 4 years of looking for answers to his cognitive issues, Rolando had a heart procedure where the cardiologist noted memory issues. And that was the first time we were believed. And I remember so clearly the cardiologist saying, "This is more than normal forgetfulness," and advocated for a second referral to a neurologist. By that time, Rolando was in the middle stages of the disease and immediately diagnosed with major neurocognitive disorder and posterior cortical atrophy. And I share this with you today because my story is not unusual. We hear over and over again the experience of a delayed diagnosis, our partners being medicated and diagnosed with mental health conditions and not believed. It wasn't too long ago that in one of our Bright Brunch meetings, someone commented that one of the losses we face is that there is damage done to our relationships, to our marriages, when there is a delayed diagnosis. And then by the time the diagnosis comes, we may have lost the opportunity to repair that relationship. Then comes the next part after the diagnosis. What I thought would be a relief at finally being believed was instead an experience of being launched into the grief, the worry, the fear, and a world with no services that adequately addressed our needs. For the next 2 weeks, Rolando was so sad, he would not get out of bed. I went to bed crying every night and woke up crying every morning. For about 2 weeks, the grief was intense and deep. Not only was I in the midst of this grief and loss, but now I had to mobilize and advocate for services. This is also a common experience in early onset. Care partners have to navigate through services designed for those with older onset that are either not relevant or we simply do not qualify for because our partner is too young. For example, because of the PCA, my husband has vision issues. And when I called an agency that supports people who are visually impaired, they told me he did not qualify for the adult services because his vision issues were dementia related. But he did not qualify for the dementia related services because he needed to be 65 or older. Can you imagine what it feels like to get this long list of referrals for services and have to go through each one when you're already overwhelmed, only to get the answer that you do not qualify or they do not meet your needs? I was angry. I was angry at the Alzheimer's Association. I was angry with almost anyone out there in the dementia Alzheimer's world because time and time again, we were not seen. Our needs were invisible and unmet. So then in the midst of this anger, despair, frustration, grief, comes Diana in Lorenzo's house. I heard of Diana somehow, and being an advocate and persistent, I called her. At this time, if there was any dementia Alzheimer's related service in the Chicago area, I knew about it and I most likely had already tried it. In one conversation, I knew Diana was the real deal. And what I mean by this is that she knew how to hold space for all of the complexities of the experience of early onset Alzheimer's, including the anger. She could validate these experiences and share other similar stories. This was in 2021. And at that time, Diana sent me a message after a conversation saying, let's stay close. I only wish the programming at Lorenzo's house was up and running to support you in Rolando. We are getting there. And here we are in November of 2022 with a vibrant and healing spaces for care partners, spouses, and children to talk about all of it. We have music, movement, and memory programs where we can experience joy and connect with each other. And let me tell you specifically about Bright Brunch. What happens during Bright Brunch? Oh, so many things. It's a space where care partners can share their pain and anger without worry about judgment, where they can share the unique challenges or losses that come with early onset and be heard and understood. And as we talk, the chat box in the Zoom is on fire as resources coming in one after another as we're sharing resources with each other. We build community, we foster resilience, we cry, we laugh, we share practical resources, and we hold hope. This is truly a unique place where healing can happen. This healing from these experiences of not being seen or heard, healing from the ongoing loss and grief, supporting each other so that we may be supports for our children who are often still young and in the home. We are also able to hold accountability with each other and creating spaces that are inclusive. We are learning and building together. I want to share a quote from one of the members of the Bright Brunch who said, I only recently discovered Lorenzo's house, and they were such a comfort for me. They provided a witness for the unique experiences of facing the disease when you are young. There are currently no support systems just for early onset Alzheimer's dementia, and it's a very lonely road for so many people. I cannot emphasize enough how important this space is for us. This is truly a peer-led experience where those with lived experience support each other as we journey through this whole range of emotions and challenges that come with an early onset diagnosis. I want to thank you all for being here and for being a part of creating the spaces for life and hope.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Leticia. Let's segue to, I can't say enough about how amazing Leticia is for our community. You are such a bright light, and you have developed our Bright Brunch. You've made it better with your facilitation, and we're so grateful for you. Thank you for sharing so much of your heart and story. It means the world to us. So we're going to segue to another program, which is our Light Lounge, and we're going to hit play and listen to Dan and Don.
When my wife was finally admitted into long-term care, residential care, I was looking for resources for myself.
Well, I had been in support groups for early onset caregivers. They were generally mixed groups, adults, spouses, children, siblings, a mix of everything. I was initially interested in Lorenzo's house via the peer-to-peer matching service for early onset caregivers. And Diana paired me up with Don Wenig based in Indiana.
Diana had introduced me to Dan Hoffman, who lived in California. I happened to be visiting out in that area, relatives of mine, and Dan and I got together, had lunch.
He mentioned that he had been in men's groups not associated with Alzheimer's. And then we decided, wouldn't it be great to have a men's group for early onset caregivers for spouses, husbands of spouses?
And came up with a plan to create a space that's safe, that's intimate, and a place where men can share issues around what's going on with them emotionally, physically, spiritually, relative to the experience of caregiving.
And the reason we thought it'd be special to create this, what became the Light Lounge, was because there's special issues sometimes that men want to talk about amongst themselves.
I think creating the space for men to gather and discuss their issues, this container for expressing their personal concerns has been a real godsend for the men that have been in the group. We've had nothing but positive feedback.
At the end of every meeting, we kind of ask for feedback, and everybody says, it's been the best 90 minutes of the month.
It's helped me process and reach out, sharing with other men.
So Don and I want to encourage any other guys out there that are in our shoes together to try this group out. Stereotypically, a lot of men don't like to open up or join support groups. We found that, but we found that those that have joined this often really feel it's a great place to share.
And I think the more we get to have this conversation in real time with people, the better equipped that everyone participating will be to move forward with handling our different approaches to early onset Alzheimer's.
Get the word out. If you know somebody in the shoes, just all you have to do is send the URL, and very easy to sign up online. It's a monthly Zoom call. So anywhere you are on Zoom, you can join. No commitments. It's worth a try. So please, there's guys that are out there that would find this helpful. Please spread the word. We'd love to hear from them.
Thank you, Dan and Don. We love these guys. Thank you for building this inside Lorenzo's house, seeing a need and meeting it. I can't say enough about these two guys. And it started with 2, and now we have over 20. And so exciting. The next highlight of one of our programs is our Music, Movement, and Memory. And this is we're really proud of this in-person class with Old Town School of Folk Music in Chicago. We want to thank Jim and John at Old Town, and Lenny, who's our incredible teacher, and Rachel, who really gave us planted the seed. And it's an example when we look at our programs that they really our programs are fueled by, and like the compass is our families. It's our families drive us. Our families are the ones who are saying, maybe we can do this and that. We're building this together. So let's take a peek at the Music, Movement, and Memory video.
And so, what we need are some claps to go along with this, or some clicks from the sticks, and our feet moving. And we do a call and response. I'll sing along. Please repeat. Banga Alafia.
Banga Alafia.
Banga Alafia.
Banga Alafia.
Ashe, ashe.
Ashe, ashe.
To me, there's a couple of things that are unique about this class. One is that there's no expectations at all on people. People can do what they want, when they want, and it's a completely non-judgmental group. And it's just based on what you as an individual want to do or not do.
There was no pressure. It was like I was so busy concentrating what I was doing, I didn't know what anybody else was doing. It was just really joyful.
And I think the other thing that this group does that's unique is that it allows people who are all dealing with similar issues to find one another and to network and create community. And that's really hard to find with the young onset Alzheimer's group.
Not too short and not too long.
You keep it simple, right? We're just making music. I love that, joyful, and we're building community. That's what Lorenzo's house does. 1, 2, 3.
Together we bring light.
Woo!
That is awesome. It's an incredible program. I'm going to hand it off to Bree to take us into youth initiatives.
Hi, I love it. That was awesome. Well, it's time to shine light on our youth initiatives. I'm Bree, and I'm so honored to be the Programs and Communications Coordinator at Lorenzo's house. I've had the privilege of building programs and relationships with our youth and our care partners every day. And I'm inspired by the courage, the strength, the resilience in our close-knit community at Lorenzo's house. But now I would love to share with you a beautiful connection that bloomed between our youth in the Light Club, our youth caregiver group. Let me introduce everyone to Jessica, Jonah, Hannah out in Utah.
Hi, I'm Hannah Larson, and I'm from Utah.
Yeah, I'm Jonah Larson from Utah too.
And I'm Jessica Christensen, also from Utah. And so we all were able to meet each other. Well, me and Jonah are siblings. We were able to meet Jessica through Lorenzo's house.
We're literally so close and we didn't even know it. But through Lorenzo's house, we were like, our moms actually connected. We were like, hold on, you live like 20 minutes away from me. And so we all just kind of connected and we're like, this is so cool because not a lot of people get it.
Through Lorenzo House, you can meet all these different people who just know exactly like the feelings you're feeling and like the struggles you've been going through, and it's just been a really big comfort to me just knowing that there's all these people that really know like all the hardships that we've had to go through.
Me and Jonah have our dad who has Alzheimer's, and he's had it for like 2.5 years, and we participated in the Lorenzo's House Youth Summit, which was really good experience, and we were able to meet Jessica and her family through that. It's been really nice for us to share our similar experiences and to connect and feel like someone else is going through the same thing as us and that we cannot feel so alone.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to hand it off to another wonderful Lorenzo's House family member, Alicia, to share more about her story and experience at our in-person family night and youth summit.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alicia, and I often refer to myself as a daughter of Alzheimer's. My mother was my best friend and my everything until I was around 11, when she wasn't. She began to change in ways that confused me and broke my heart. And it wasn't too soon that she was diagnosed with younger onset ALS and eventually passed away when I was 21. My dad, younger brother, and both who have courageously joined us tonight, and myself experienced about 10 years of unthinkable suffering in different ways for each of us. Though the one thing we shared, which is a pattern for our community, is that we had virtually no resources to lean on. It wasn't until May of this year at age 28 when I met Diana. And I finally felt like I had met someone who heard me and understood me and was going to stand beside me. Because although my mom passed almost 8 years ago, the walk with ALS continues as we unpack the experience and rediscover ourselves. I found Lorenzo's house and I wasn't alone anymore. I was immediately welcomed into this beautiful community, our Lorenzo's house family. This year, I was honored to be asked to MC the second annual Youth Summit. It's a virtual summit for tweens, teens, and young adults. It's a day-long youth-led event in partnership with several very cool and upright organizations in this space. It's a day that we share stories, exchange resources, but most importantly, connect with other young caregivers. This year, as Diana mentioned, we have doubled our participants with over 43 youth across 22 states and 3 countries. The event launched with an in-person family night in Chicago. Families from Chicagoland and across the entire country joined in this awesome united front. For myself, and I believe I speak for everyone else there, we couldn't believe we'd found each other. Like our tagline, we bring light. So much light was brought, and so much light was shared. We were together with so much emotion and love, and because of our shared experience, we are an instant family forever. The next morning, we held our virtual youth summit, a very full day for us, to connect and learn and share in a very safe space as young caregivers. We shared caregiving strategies through the fine arts and improvisation. We deepened the connection to our daily life as young caregivers by exploring our own stories. We learned about brain health with medical and science experts in the field, and we brainstormed what's next for us as the young advisors at Lorenzo's house. When a young caregiver realizes they are not alone, but instead surrounded by others who understand, we can just breathe a little easier. Lift our heads knowing we are part of an alliance and that we have each other. That's what this remarkable summit does. That's what Lorenzo's house does for me. That's what Lorenzo's house does for all of us. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Alicia. So beautiful. We love you. You're amazing. Carepartner Connections at Lorenzo's house is another one of our pillars, and it is a peer-to-peer match that we're designing at Lorenzo's house. And it's a chance for caregivers to connect with other caregivers who are walking a similar journey, to connect and to share strategies and insight. So the pilot program is underway, and I'm going to share a video clip of Leslie, but also wanted to just personally share, because I think it's important when this, I have had the chance to be a part of it this year too. And the journey of Alzheimer's doesn't end when your loved one dies. And my care partner through Lorenzo's house is a care partner named Clodagh, who lost her Elliot a year ago. And after my beloved husband died, Clodagh showed up and didn't leave, texting, calling, and supporting in ways that very few people can understand. And she became my angel, my connection. And that is exactly what we want to do. So I feel so grateful to Lorenzo's house to have Clodagh. She has kids like I do. We share common experiences. So her support and her understanding has been a source of strength and light for me in ways that are really kind of indescribable. Leslie Haley is a new and amazing, beautiful new member of our Lorenzo's House community. And we have a video clip where she shares her early impressions of Lorenzo's House and our Carepartner Connections.
Although my relationship with Lorenzo's House is very new, my initial experience has been absolutely wonderful. For the first time in this journey, I truly feel understood and supported, including the willingness of the staff to make an instant connection with a caregiver whose spouse also has early onset dementia. While many miles apart, we bonded quickly and immediately regarding the lighter and darker sides of this disease. But at the same time, I also gained new knowledge and perspective, along with a great feeling of acceptance. I'm extremely excited for the launch of the Carepartner Connections program, as it will provide caregivers with a more intimate and personalized engagement through the varied stages of this disease.
Thank you to Leslie. We really appreciate you giving us your perspective. And our last pillar is our Memory Academy, and it is an incredible, powerful pillar. And I'm going to hand it off to our beloved Gary Wood. He is a husband, he is a father, he is a beacon of light and insight for us at Lorenzo's House. Please let me introduce you to Gary Wood, and then it will be followed by Marissa, who is our project lead in the design phase of our Memory Academy. So sit on back and learn from Gary and Marissa. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Gary Howard. I'm from Findlay, Illinois, which is a small community in central Illinois. I'm 62 years old, and my family's here with me. My wife, Patty, my oldest son, Nicholas, and my next son, Kevin. I am a retired paramedic from Los Angeles, California, and I did that for approximately 40 years. And now I'm faced with a dilemma of having onset dementia. I'm an active member of Dementia Society of America, which I got involved with after my diagnosis. And their founder, Kevin Jameson, and I, of course, are speaking on a daily basis. And he introduced me to Bree and Amber and them at Lorenzo's House. Let me tell you why Lorenzo's House is succeeding, because they are talking about the unspoken disease, which is early onset Alzheimer's. And it is early onset dementia. There is so many levels of dementia and so many different types of dementia that we don't know about. Everybody lumps them in one thing. And I think the biggest problem we have with that is we have early onset, but nobody sees it as a problem yet. But it's going to become a problem. And there's going to be a day that you're going to need someone like Lorenzo's House. How they have helped me is they have flipped a switch in me to let me know that, yes, we can start combating early onset. So yeah, Memory Academy would be amazing. I had never heard of it before until we start talking about it. We have nothing out here like that at all. If there was a memory facility around here, I'm sure in a very short time, that's something I would be using. Well, I would probably use it now because I have capability of getting there. But the thing is you're after something that is going to put the spotlight on early onset, and that's what we're here for.
Thank you. Thank you, Gary Howard. I appreciate it so much. He is love, and we are so grateful. He constantly has insight that makes us better. Marissa.
Yes, thank you to Gary for his powerful testament to the need for the Memory Academy at Lorenzo's house. Following her husband Larry's diagnosis with younger onset dementia, Diana applied her 30 years of experience and expertise from the founding of Perspectives, which is a network of public charter schools in Chicago, and the creation of A Disciplined Life, which is a curriculum that's received national attention, to the founding of Lorenzo's house, bringing light to the underrepresented and underserved people living with younger onset dementia through 4 arrays: youth initiatives, Carepartner Connections, respite and healing spaces, and now the Memory Academy. My name is Marissa Payne. I'm a credentialed brain health and wellness coach, consultant, and founder of In Pursuit of Wellness, and I'm honored to have been designated by Diana as the project lead for the creation of the Memory Academy. All my professional background is in activities, life enrichment, and resident engagement in residential memory care settings. Most recently as a product manager of a wellness lifestyle product in 42 communities in 7 Western states. My understanding of the complexities of aging as a lifelong process was actually fostered in my formative years due to being immersed in a unique environment from the time I was 2 years old until I was 15. My parents raised me in the boarding care for older adults that they owned and operated from our own family home. Over the course of those 13 years, as my parents, my siblings, and I, and our residents gathered together every day as a family to share meals, entertainment, memories, and stories, the highs and lows of the day-to-day, I formed meaningful connections with brilliant people from all walks of life, shared in their lived experiences, and for some, walked alongside them on their journey with dementia. I was also modeled unconditional, unbounded love and taught that the meaning of life is to serve others, which is why the meaning of mine is to serve older adults and their care partners through pro-aging education and resources, and through partnering with other aging and adult service providers to consciously design and develop holistic wellness programs and services that bring forth empowerment, purpose, and joy. The formation of the Memory Academy is evidence-based and has been backed by innovation, medical, and science advisors, and guided by the voices of the people living with younger onset dementia themselves and their specifically stated needs and expectations, wants, and preferences for a personalized care experience. It will be a no-cost, accessible, and inclusive alternative to traditional adult daycare designed specifically for people living with younger onset dementia, transforming the industry standard care-based model into an education-based model and becoming a place where we come to learn. Integrated throughout this model are 5 distinguishable characteristics: a holistic environment, the validation approach to care, an individualized curriculum facilitated by recreational therapists and educators, including subjects in vocational training, genealogy and family history, health and wellness, and creative arts and culture, a collaborative teaching method, and a blended framework of learning processes based on the most progressive medical, behavioral, and educational research. It has been a privilege to act as a strategic partner and collaborator with the remarkable team at Lorenzo's house and provide my own experience, reflections, and insights to help transform Diana's dream into a reality. So thank you to all of you for your contributions. The Memory Academy at Lorenzo's house, as presented to you today, will be nationally and globally minded and set forth the standards and expectations for an innovative, generationally relevant, purposeful experience for people living with younger onset dementia. And in doing so, we will shift the narrative for the care experience of people with all forms of dementia worldwide. Thank you.
Thank you, Marissa. Thank you so much. Such incredibly exciting work. The next portion of our evening is to share with you our We Bring Light Award. Every year we identify a recipient for our We Bring Light Award, someone who models our Lorenzo's House values and brings light to the world. And this year, our dear friend Mark Wortman is our recipient. Mark died in August and was a board member for the first year at Lorenzo's House. We are heartbroken that he left us too soon, and yet we celebrate his wisdom and his insight that he gave us. Mark was one of our very first board members. He had a wisdom and an invaluable sense of insight for Lorenzo's House, both me personally and Lorenzo's House as a whole. He would enthusiastically join our every single board meeting, usually with a glass of wine, because it would be 6 o'clock in the Netherlands when we would have our 12 o'clock board meeting. He was the former Alzheimer's Disease International Director for a decade. This summer, Mark graciously arranged a tour for my son and I to model, to review and to visit Hogevek, which is a village outside of Amsterdam, where those living with dementia were living and thriving in a liberated community. He supported our Alzheimer's Disease International presentation in London. He helped coordinate our presentation at the Alzheimer's Association in San Diego. Mark was a gift to Lorenzo's House, and he is a good friend. Always a laugh, a good meal, and a deep conversation about making the lives of those experiencing dementia better. Mark's light shines on through Lorenzo's House. Tonight, we have a video clip from his wife, Corinne, and this would be Mark's award. Let's hear from Corinne.
Dear Diane, dear all, I thank you for inviting me to speak to you at your Evenings of Lights event. I feel honored that you offered my dear husband, Mark, the We Bring Light Award. In particular, because with this award, you pay tribute to Mark's legacy. He was well known for his strategic vision on elderly care in general and Alzheimer's care in particular, always open for opportunities and innovations, always full of ideas. I know very well that he was very engaged to contribute to Lorenzo's House as a board member. He will live on in our memories. He will certainly live on in our hearts forever. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we have two more beautiful pieces to our night, and it's a little over 7 o'clock. We're running a little late, but stay with us. Right now, I'm gonna we're gonna press play to a video with Luis. Luis is one of our young professionals, and he's fantastic. And let's have Luis bring us some light tonight.
My involvement with Lorenzo's House is due to the fact that my mother was diagnosed with younger onset dementia, and my grandmother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. My mother has since passed 4 years ago. However, my journey with her will live on and lives on within me and through me and with every person that I meet. I want to make sure that other families do not walk this path alone like I did, but they are being supported. And that is why I am deeply touched by Lorenzo's House, because they want to make sure we walk this path together and not alone. As we know, our aging population is going to double by the year 2050. So it's something that we have to think about and are starting to have these conversations. And younger onset is being underdiagnosed, and in doing so, people are not able to receive certain services. As a young professional, I encourage you all to spread the word and be part of the spark. We need you more now than ever. We have launched a campaign called Be the Spark. In the chat, you will find a link to learn more about how to start a young professional chapter in your city, and we look forward to welcoming you to our family. It is truly an honor to be part of Lorenzo's house and their family, because to me it gives me hope that my neighbor, that my cousin, that my family member, etc., when they need help in terms of navigating a new diagnosis of memory loss, they would know who to talk to and resort to. Thank you for being by our side, as we need your support to spread the word and awareness more than ever, as younger onset dementia is a public health issue that we need to educate everyone on, because eventually we will all know someone impacted by the disease, either directly or indirectly, and we cannot do this alone. We have to do this together. Together we are stronger, and together we will make the change, ensuring no one walks the path alone, but together, for we are stronger together.
Thank you, Louis. Thank you so much. And our last speaker tonight is Kristin, who we love here, and Kristin is going to share pieces of her personal story. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Diana. It's a pleasure to be here and an honor to be here this evening with all of you. And thank you for everyone who's chosen to show up here to be here this evening. Caregiving is a really hard thing, and it's something, and I just these last few days, it's actually been really hard with dementia. There's just things that are ever changing, and there's just this flexibility we need to have to be constantly adapting to new challenges that come our way. And just so grateful for Lorenzo House and the light that they share to be able to make that burden lighter. So thank you for that. Just to share a little bit, I care for my husband, Blake, who has primary progressive aphasia, a logopenic variant, and it's caused by Alzheimer's. So he does have Alzheimer's disease, and he is 58 now. He was diagnosed in the spring of 2019, shortly after his 55th birthday. But like many with younger onset, he had been developing symptoms for many years prior to that, that was affecting his life, unbeknownst to him or to me or our kids. And he was a brilliant, well-respected engineer who found himself demoted when he was 50 and subsequently lost his job up to 25 years at the age of 53. And I'm kind of thinking that the last 4 years or so of his career was probably just complete turmoil for him. And I know it was a humiliating experience for him to lose his job when he had always been super successful at whatever he was asked to do. We have 6 children, and 4 of which were at home as these symptoms were unfolding. The kids were often asking why their dad was struggling so much. And honestly, we were just attributing it to stress, because who has dementia on their radar in their 50s? So currently, our youngest is 16 and our oldest is 28. They have lost their father as a parent. As the roles are now reversed, they now take care of him. Diana had brought up how she believes in miracles, and I too completely 100% believe in miracles. I do not believe in coincidences. And so Lorenzo's house was truly a miracle find for our family this past summer. Their mission to connect families with young onset dementia in beautiful ways through light and hope is really unprecedented. This isolating and lonely disease is no longer so through Lorenzo's house. Especially how they serve the youth and young adults who have a parent with young onset. I don't know any other organization that does this. You heard a bit from my youngest children, Hannah and Jonah, who have benefited greatly from attending the Youth Summit and the Light Club. And it's a place where they can feel belonging, love, and strength, and they no longer feel that they're alone in this. The first time that I attended Bright Brunch was a miracle for me. Seeing an entire group of women who were the same age as me, going through similar experiences, was really unreal. The challenges that were being discussed with becoming a caregiver to a spouse or partner at a young age, our children becoming caregivers, loss of careers, early retirements, financial worries, juggling work while still trying to be a halfway decent parent. And of the 10 to 12 women that were together, or of the 10 to 12 women attending, there were 3 of us from Utah, which I thought was a miracle in of itself, to have this Chicago-based program bring together women in Utah. And, you know, I thought that was miraculous. So this is where I met Sherry Christensen and Nancy Bromfield, who both were so welcoming to me, who are the other women from Utah. And I was quickly included into their texting group and weekly Zoom calls, along with Kim Schooley in Colorado. And later, Kimberly Smith came into the group, who's also from Utah. And these are incredible, brave women who are now my friends. And I'm just so grateful. And so what's even more amazing, as you heard from Sherry's daughter, Jessica, earlier this evening, that we are only 20 minutes away from one another, which is miraculous. We have had opportunities to meet together in person with our families, and that has brought a lot of laughter and joy to an otherwise grim situation. Sherry, too, has become a lifeline for me in being able to text back and forth frequently throughout the week. Just the good things, the bad things, and the ugly things that are going on with this crazy disease that we're having to navigate. So I'm so grateful for those miracle connections, and I am now like far from being alone in this journey. So as you've seen this evening, Lorenzo's house is a place where the entire family struggling with young onset dementia can feel that they belong. They provide light, hope, love, and acceptance, and as well as miraculous connections with brave and amazing people. It truly is a beautiful thing. It is a place where grief and joy can share the same space. And I am just so grateful for the miracle Lorenzo House has been for me and my family. And thank you, everyone. Thank you again for being here this evening.
Thank you, Kristin. Thank you so much for sharing pieces of your story. You're amazing. We love you. Thank you and your wonderful family. Tonight, we are going to close with this beautiful video that's been assembled, and it's really a year in review. So let's take a peek.
Good evening, everyone. Hi, I'm Diana, and I'm the founding executive director of Lorenzo's House, and I am so overwhelmed with gratitude to each of you for joining us tonight. And huge gratitude goes out to our panelists tonight, our expert panelists. It means the world to Lorenzo's House and our growing community. So the purpose of tonight's event, the next hour we will spend together, is to build awareness and to ignite action and to bring hope to families and practitioners and anyone who has been touched by this diagnosis, so that we can bring some light together tonight.
I'm a longtime student and teacher of yoga. It's from my own lived experiences that I've really come to value short practices you can do anywhere that can really help support in difficult times, to provide practices for healing, for respite.
The Young Professionals Board was created to help magnify the Lorenzo's House mission of bringing light to younger onset dementia, using the talents and voices of people working in various professional industries. We believe that young adults show up uniquely in their communities, and we hope our cause will be magnified and shared in new and creative ways through our board members. By having a board with young professionals spread across the nation and even the world, we are able to expand beyond the greater Chicago area and magnify our presence by hosting in-person events in various cities.
I want to point out that this organization is like the only of its type. There are other organizations out there that help, generally with Alzheimer's, or, they help with research, but there's nothing that supports families like mine, except for Lorenzo's House.
We are grateful that you have made tonight a priority. You have made Lorenzo's House mission a priority. You have embraced what we are doing to empower families living with younger onset dementia. I believe in miracles, and where there is love, there are miracles. And the Young Professional Board at Lorenzo's House is a miracle. I love Lorenzo's House. So let's do a call to action. We have a slide that's going to come up, because what I want folks to think about is ways to continue to walk with us. You are helping families walk unimaginable paths. Then we need you as much as we need the model itself. We're interconnected. We're making real change, and we're building this incredibly beautiful community until a cure is found. So walk with us. I'll share the 5 ways that you can get involved. First, introduce us to new friends, experts, partners, families, friends, anyone who wants to engage, connect with us. Follow us on social media. This matters. It's a way to push forward our mission. Donate to our mission. We are a nonprofit, and donations keep us moving forward. But I want to be clear that $10 is as important as $10,000 in so many ways. We need more donors than just 3 donors. When you have 100 new donors giving $25 a year, that matters. That means we're building a movement and a community. So it's not about how much, it's about just contributing in any way you can. We literally are now in 2 years almost at 300 donors. And again, they range from $10 to $1 million. So any number matters. Volunteer with us. We have a spot on our website where you can volunteer with us. We'll get back to you, and there's so many ways to engage. And then sign up for our newsletter to learn about what we're doing every month. So walk with us. Thank you for walking us. Thank you for walking with us. Please continue to walk with us. We're so grateful. Good night, everyone.